This week's Primal Persuasion Secrets is all about vulnerability. As a reminder, as we talk about schemas, schemas are kind of like a program in our brains that developed as we were a child. Children develop coping mechanisms to survive traumatic events. These coping mechanisms help children survive, but don't necessarily serve us as an adult. Now, keep in mind, traumatic events, when we're dealing with psychological principles, obviously we're always talking about the worst case, most horrible scenarios possible. But what is traumatic to a child may not be traumatic as an adult, and we all suffer from various schemas at different levels. It's like a 1 to 10 scale. So when you're looking at your market, we're not saying that everyone who suffers from this vulnerability schema is the worst case scenario. There's just different levels and mixes within your market. Schemas determine how we think, feel, act, and relate to others. And when we have these schemas, they tend to trigger strong feelings such as anger, sadness, and anxiety. And Copywriting 101 says people buy stuff on emotion and justify with logic. By understanding your market's primary life traps or schemas, you can create a message that resonates at a psychological level. Individuals that suffer from a vulnerability schema, they live in fear that disaster is about to strike. They're always going to be anxious and fearful of natural disasters, criminals attacking them somehow, losing their health, or not being able to pay their medical bills, losing all their money, like that. As a child, for some reason, they were made to feel that the world was unsafe. So they don't feel safe in the world. And they don't necessarily have all these problems affecting them. Maybe their house was broken into when they were little, and now then they fear criminals, or maybe their parent was very anxious about finances, so now they are also anxious about finances. But on some level, they let these fears control their lives, and they spend the resources to make sure they are safe. Your market may suffer from a vulnerability schema if they can't escape the feeling something bad is going to happen. Catastrophe can strike any time. They have fear of losing everything, being attacked, mugged. They're afraid they're going to be sick. They may be hypochondriacs. They are super aware of their body and sensations, and if they wake up and their hand's hurting, they're on Google trying to figure out why. Maybe they're afraid to travel or leave the house because something bad will happen to them. Basically, just an overall fear of loss of control. Common markets with vulnerability schemas: finance, health, survival, prepper. And if you'll notice over the last few weeks, there's a meshing together of various schemas within marketplaces, but some are stronger in one marketplace than the other. And vulnerability schema people will be highly attracted to finance and health and prepping and survival. Stories at work, doom or gloom. What you want to confirm their fear. Don't make them feel like, oh, that's not a big deal, because they truly believe inside at a subconscious level that these bad things are going to happen. And you need to say, yeah, you're right. But here's how I can help you fix that. Here's your lifeline to protect you from that one fear that you may have. Here are some examples. These are both from Agora. Here's one about, it's a health offer. Dead on arrival, what's suddenly killing American seniors? Like, yeah, you're verifying. Yep, things are killing people. Doctors are killing people. Bad things are happening. And this was a highly effective ad for them if you look it up. And here's one on money. If you have money in the stock market, you could lose as much as 10% of your portfolio in a flash, starting just days from now. I mean, imagine that you are very fearful of your health or finances, then these are going to call out to you. You're going to be compelled to click on these and listen to the message. So in summary, people suffering from the vulnerability schema believe the world is unsafe. They have a lot of fear that drives their decisions. Use copy that confirms their fear. Don't be afraid to use a little doom and gloom, but give them a lifeline out of their pain. That's it for this week. If you have any questions, you can hit me up at funnelcopyexperts.com, and I'll see you next week.